Save thee, friend, and thy music. Dost thou live by thy tabor?
No, sir, I live by the church.
Art thou a churchman?
Sir, I do live by the church, for I do live at my house, and my house does stand by the church.
Art not thou Lady Olivia's fool?
No, indeed, sir, the Lady Olivia hath no folly. She will keep no fool, sir, till she be married.
It's difficult to explain the entire plot, which is not the point anyway, I don't think, but because it's pretty plotty. There's a set of twins, a boy and a girl. There's a shipwreck. They are separated. They each think the other is dead. The girl twin has to, for various flimsy reasons, disguise herself as a boy. There's confusion. The usual wackiness ensues. The two people who fall in the woman who falls in love with her as him, and the man she falls in love with are actually, one is trying to court the other. Anyway, yeah, that won't be any clearer as the show goes on, and never has been, and that's kind of part of the charm of it, is there are parts of this that just sort of gleefully, aggressively don't make sense. And the subplots involving some drunken relatives and housekeeping mishaps and other thwarted romances are all entangled enough that one good sort of Gordian knot slice at the end is all that can take care of them. But that's Shakespeare. Our take on it, and as like with the other Shakespeares we've done, has been that while historians would disagree, it plays better if we go on and pretend that on that title page where it says a comedy, that we take him at his word, and that the whole thing was intended to be a comedy. Clearly there are plenty of characters in Twelfth Night that are supposed to be comic characters, like laugh comic characters, not just in the classical sense of not dying at the end comic characters. But even those that are taken to be a little more romantic with a capital R, we see as people that Shakespeare might well be mocking as well. And in all the traditions that Shakespeare is stealing from, those lovers were just as much figures of foolishness, even though they were more articulate. We think there's something to that, and that is the hope, that they can be seen, not us making them funny, not us imposing the funny on top of them, but pulling out what is already funny there and highlighting it in ways that don't usually happen. The practical concern that it makes easier is there are always those productions, especially modern budgets being what they are, and Shakespeare cast sizes being what they are, that you can't have 15 or 18 actors. The odds are that someone's going to double up if it's only your gentleman number 2 and such, And we have a cast of 6. And I've built 13 masks, and I think there are a couple of characters who did, well, that's another story. But the masks make it much easier, much cleaner when you only got 6 people to say, clearly she is no longer simply, you could throw a little robe on or something, but simply put, she is no longer playing Olivia, she is now playing Sir Andrew Aguecheek, because she has an entirely different face. And with that face, in mask performance, comes the whole body, movement style that goes with it. It changes you more than just by locking your eyebrows in place. The difficulty that ensues is then, this is Shakespeare, there is a lot of language that is very rich to be dealt with, and it's there are a lot of corners to be navigated, and mask performance requires some really specific uses of the voice and body that you don't have to worry about as much when you don't have a mask on. I could sit and shift what I'm saying now into some Shakespeare and not really change my gesture or my body movement and still be perfectly plausibly performing Shakespeare. With a mask on, if I put a mask on and sit and talk like this, it highlights every movement you're making. Every flop around of my hand or twiggle of my neck is really noticeable and distracting, whereas the mask makes you hold still or move very rapidly and then hold still again, and to overlay the language onto that can get tricky. This is our third Shakespeare, and we also did a Moliere in this form, in this style, whatever it is that we're doing, and this configuration maybe, and we've gotten a lot more used to it, you know, how to translate the two things. Yes, homoerotic themes in Twelfth Night. It sounds like a treatise. To a modern audience, they're so clearly there that it seems almost, you know, to take a hammer to the audience to highlight them too much. Yes, there is a boy. No, see, I can't even do it now. There is a woman dressed as a man, or as a boy, sort of, who falls in love with her employer, who is a man, who doesn't really clearly fall in love with her until the very last scene, in which he says, "What, so you're a girl? Well, let's get married." Which is, you know, you've got to play it some way. Comedy is almost the only way to do it that abruptly. But yes, the themes are there. And of course, the woman who falls in love with this boy, who she doesn't know is a girl, again, it's all such an intrinsic part of the plot that, like, I've seen it done where it's very overwrought, where it's like, oh yes, this is happening. Yes, it is happening. And people also have a tendency, this isn't exactly strictly related, but to modern productions of Shakespeare, comedies tend to be like, but let us focus on the darkness underneath this comedy, which you've gotta, you know, if Chaplin wasn't homeless, then all the good funny that comes out of that couldn't happen. He has to have an actual threat of something. But we think there are other ways, and are keen to experiment with those. Le Petomane's production of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night will open on Friday, the 13th of May, and run through Saturday the 28th, all three of those weekends. There's some various dates within. Tickets are $8 to $20. That's a sliding scale. Whatever you think is reasonable to pay is what you get to pay. The seats are all essentially the same here at the Rudyard Kipling. Dinner is also available, and drinks, which are an important part of any Shakespeare comedy, because we're funnier when you drink.